try this now. Okay. So I feel like I I came up well since school is going back in session, or school is back in session now, or about to be for most people in high school and college, whatever. I thought of I was really thinking about three ways that you can three oh my god, this damn light won't stay. Thinking about here we go. Thinking about blah. Okay, restart. Um, so recently I was at University of Minnesota and I was thinking about like three different ways, um, three tips for college students and going back to campus and things like that since school is about to start. And on top of that, I kind of split it up into like an academic tip, one academic tip, one kind of like social tip, and then one tip for like career and job stuff. So, but they kind of overlap sometimes, whatever, whatever. But just those three um, categories, I was kind of thinking of it. And I have it written on my whiteboard over here, which is why you see me looking all the way across the room. So, tip one would be to in attend events around campus that they have for students, especially in the beginning where they have a lot of like, hey, back to school events or fall semester like fun fall semester events or whatever they advertise around your campus. Because those I know I attended those when I was in college, and those were a cool way to meet people before your classes even start, or early enough on in the semester where you could kind of have people that you're making friends, but then also they could be people that, hey, they become a study partner, or um, they help you get around campus. Like, say you're not from the town that you go to school in, and someone you meet at the event is from the town, and now you kind of have an more insight on just navigating the city or whatever, things like that. So lots of benefits of just having someone from those type of events that you can lean on. And number two is I did the job one next. Yeah, that one is kind of related to social too, but um, that would be to join a student org, because I would advocate for every college student to, whatever you do, whether it's a fun one or one related to your major, whatever, joining a student org is so powerful. One, because like I said, it's kind of the same thing of like you can find friends or people related to your major and things like that. Just making friends on campus and having people that you can connect with. And then also, the job and career aspect of it is the fact that if you take on leadership roles and then if you actively engage with these orgs, there's a lot of opportunities for scholarships, professional networking, and pathways to like internships and even future job offers after school. So, being really engaged in those type of organizations really helps you um, in the long run when it comes to like, okay, time to actually use my degree and get a job and do whatever, right? And then the last one, which I think is really well, I didn't think of this last one on my own. This was a suggestion, but then I realized, oh wow, that's actually like a really good tip, and I feel like it's obvious, but it's still not. It's not at the same time, and that has to do with exams. And now it depends on what type of class you have, because not all classes have like are just like straight up homework and exams, right? But for the ones that are, the point is to do well on the first one or the first two exams, or whatever, however many assessments you have before your final exam, you want to do really well on those first ones. And that might sound pretty obvious, like, duh, of course you want to do good on the first ones, or well, you want to do good on any test. Yeah, it makes sense. But I think where a lot of students get tripped up is forgetting that their classes are like weighted usually. So like those first two exams might only count for 10-15% of the grade, but then the final one is like 30% of the grade. And those, oh my gosh, or I've even seen like 35%, 40% of the grade being like this one final exam. So when you think about why you want to do good on the first ones, not only will it be good to just do that, see the material that time and do well, but if your final exam requires you to actually recall all of the material from the whole semester, now you'll be in a good place, because now you have prior exams that you can review, or you have like, you've done the work up front. So now even if you mess up at the end, it won't hurt you as much as someone who didn't do that work up front. So best case scenario is to just do really well on those two, because even if you like, you can get in a position where you might be able to like fail the last one and then still pass the class. I'm not advocating for you to do that, but at the end of the day, if the math works with how the class is weighted, theoretically you could do that. But I think you don't do it for that reason. It's more so it takes the stress off, because think about exam time is always, everyone's like, oh my God, I got this class, got this class. So much stuff you're managing, especially if you're like, full time taking like four or five classes. It's just, so much stuff going on, and you can limit kind of, right? Like think about if all your classes, all your finals, you're stressed about all of them. You want to eliminate as much stress in each one of your classes as you can. So that's where doing well in the beginning, you just want to set that bar high in the beginning so that the ending you can finish strong. And that too, if you're going good throughout the semester, think about it. You'll be less likely to be like, oh, well, I'm going to fail anyway, and then have this mindset of, well, I'm just going to do bad, so I'm not going to try. Versus that person who goes in and gets a really good foundation, and then, it's like, if you've done the work previously like that, why would you give up at the end, So that was a really good one, because, like I said, understanding how your class is weighted in the beginning and reading your syllabus is so important, and that goes all into getting ready for those exams, because that's when their exams are can be so much of your grade, and it's just so important to do well on them. But at the same time, you have so much stuff going on, and different classes and different styles of teaching, all the different factors that go into it, and to navigate all that it's a lot on your mind. So to be able to mitigate stress of the final is really good, whenever you can. So those were 3 tips that I had for college students going back, and I want to say you got it, because a lot of exam stuff is just, I'm coming from the perspective of like a STEM student, but you work a bunch of problems, but there's a lot of other factors that go into why you do well in the class or not. But I preach putting yourself in a good position so that you have the least amount of stress on the back end. So that's where those tips kind of come. All of those tips kind of come from that. So yeah, Just wanted to say that, and bye bye.